Islam, everyone, and welcome to the United States of American Republic, our true national government, Law Task Force, which is every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And
it's part of being a national overstanding and having overstanding and knowledge of self and what you're working with, and getting the understanding that we are state government. Hey, push that door up. Come on. Push the door up. Kill some of that noise. International law. This is what a sovereign state is. International law. A sovereign state is a non-physical juridical entity that is represented by one centralized government that has sovereignty over a geographic area. International law defines sovereign states as having a permanent population, defined territory, one government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other sovereign states. It is also normally understood that a sovereign state is neither dependent on nor subjected to any other power or state. The existence or disappearance of a state is question of fact, while according to the declarative theory of statehood, a sovereign state can exist without being recognized by other sovereign states. Unrecognized states will often find it hard to exercise full treaty-making powers and engage in diplomatic relations with other sovereign states. Now I'm gonna go real slow with this thing. I'm gonna go real slow. What is USAR? What kind of government? State government. Anybody?
A Republican form of government? A republic?
It's a republic. It's a republic, but what other kind of government is it?
Nation state?
It's a nation state, but what?
Sovereign government.
Another name.
A national government?
Thank you. It's a national government. Why is it a national government?
Because we're one nation.
Because we're one nation of people. Why else are we national?
We're indigenous to this continent.
No, why else are we national?
Because we're state.
Mm-mm. Are you located in Texas?
Because our jurisdiction extends all of North America.
Huh?
Because our jurisdiction extends to all of North America.
Exactly. You from coast to coast. You nationwide in scope. You're not located in no one particular state, which makes you a national government. Ain't no citizens of Illinois in the state of Florida. If you're living in the state of Florida, you're a Florida state citizen. If you're living in the District of Columbia, you're a District of Columbia citizen. You fall up under the United States government. So our government is not a federal government, right? Though we are a state government, we are a national government. And our citizens are the national citizens. We're the original aboriginal people of the original nation itself, being North America. Member states of the United Nations, all of which are sovereign states. Though not all sovereign states are necessarily members of the United Nations. So when y'all hear people say, oh, y'all part of the United Nations, that right there is letting you know you don't necessarily have to be part of the United Nations to be recognized as a state. Okay, emergence of states. States came into existence as people gradually transferred their allegiance from an individual sovereign king, duke, prince to an intangible but territorial political entity of the state. States are but one of several political orders that emerged from feudal Europe, others being city-states, languages, and empires with universalist claims to authority. Leagues. I'm sorry. Brother is right. Others being city-states, leagues, and empires with universalist claims to authority. Now, let me make something clear to y'all. I'm going to teach y'all the best that I can, so y'all just try to stay with me and pay attention. Okay, you see what this say right here? A sovereign state is a non-physical juridical entity. A sovereign state is a non-physical juridical entity that is represented by one centralized government. That would be USOP. It's a national government. It's one centralized government. It has sovereignty over a geographic area. International law sovereign states as having a permanent population. Are we a permanent population here? It's the reason why when Marcus Garvey got them ships, he didn't just pack everybody on the ship and take us on back to Africa. Now, ain't it? He could not do that. He could not do that. We're permanent here. This is our homeland. If he would have tried it, the United States would have knocked his head clean off his shoulders. You cannot just empty your own country. They're not going to allow it. Okay. Down here, pay close attention. What is really keeping our people from being recognized as a state if we think that we're not recognized? Notice you at least say, ain't no more chains on you. The only chains on you now are mental. Guess what? I've got everything lined up to the law. Everything lines up to the law. Watch this. I'm going to show you what your problem is, what our people got to begin to understand. This is when we apply for our delegation of authority from the state of Virginia. So what they say? We are returning an application for a certificate of authority to transact business in Virginia for the following reason. As United States of America Republic Corporation has declared its sovereignty and independence. And as Amendment 18 provides, that it is not subject to the laws of another state. Is it not true that the corporation is no longer incorporated under the laws of the state of Indiana? This is my answer and my reply. I want y'all to really get an understanding. Okay, this letter is in response to your letter dated March 8, 2017, to address the rejection of application for certificate of authority to transact business in Virginia as a foreign corporation, and to provide a written explanation per your request in this resubmission. The United States of America Republic is a de jure government of an autonomous nation of people. The Moorish American people are a nation of people created by God, and their national standard state flag represents a natural people. The several states and the Union States, including Commonwealth, as well as the United States, are corporations, and their flags are corporate banners. Their citizens are corporate citizens. None of these banners or citizens are of nations created by God, and their citizens are comprised of national citizens from other nation states who are created by God. The United States of America Republic is an autonomous government for the Moorish American people who are the national citizens of North America / Morocco. The United States of America Republic is a governmental corporation created by the Moorish Americans who are a natural people to operate in commerce on their behalf with other governmental corporations. Nationality theory, the jurisdictional principle. The citizens are subject to the laws of their country, no matter where the citizens are. The country of the Moorish American people is North America / Morocco. The Moorish American people have a peace and friendship treaty in force with the United States federal government, which is the longest unbroken treaty of the United States. The United States Constitution at Article 1, Section 10 does not allow any state to enter into treaty agreements or alliances. This indicates the power of the United States of American Republic's national government. The powers reserved to the states. Wait a minute, let me go up. The United States of American Republic government is the only government in America with power to enforce international law on the American continent. No powers have been delegated to the United States by our national constitution. Any powers delegated to the United States by our government are in the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Amendment 10, powers reserved to the states or people. The power not delegated to the United States of American Republic by the Constitution or where it prohibits the United States or the several states are reserved to the United States of American Republic respectively or to the people. The Commonwealth of Virginia is obligated by Article 6 of the United States Constitution wherein it states all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislature and all executive and judicial officers both of the United States and of the several states shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. We, United States of America Republic, have corporate charter immunity. Though we are not under the laws of the state of Indiana, we are still lawfully chartered and incorporated and recognize the laws that apply to corporations. The power to incorporate is not a granted privilege created by state government, but the power to incorporate was legislated by the United States Congress. Congress created the power to incorporate, and it was an appropriate need for the United States of American Republic for carrying into execution the powers expressly given to the United States of American Republic government. And the creation of such a corporation should be held to be justified by the authority given to make all the laws necessary and proper for carrying into execution the enumerated powers and all other powers vested by the Constitution and laws of the United States of American Republic. Therefore, the United States of American Republic is entitled to sovereignty over all the territories within its jurisdiction subject to common law. So, what is being said here is real simple. We're a state. We're a state. So you got to understand that the only thing holding us back is the people, is not the law. We lined up the law. Know what's holding you back right now? What's determining your statehood right now is this right here, your political power. Do you recognize that you are a political power? See what it say right here? It says states came into existence as people gradually transferred their allegiance from an individual sovereign, king, duke, prince, to an intangible but territorial political entity. Political entity of the state. States are but one of several political orders that emerged from feudal Europe. See, a lot of our people are thinking they need to go to court to determine or not if we are a state. The court can't determine if you're a state or not. They can only determine that you're a state according to the law. Are you lined up as far as the law say you're a state? But guess what? We as a court cannot cross the line to say that you're a state or not. Why can't the court cross the line? And what line am I talking about that they can't cross to give you a clarification and what you're looking for that you're a state? Why can't the court just come out and tell you, yeah, y'all a state? We recognize y'all. Why the court can't do that? Anybody?
Islam.
Islam.
The legislation already granted the power through Congress.
But why the state can't tell you or acknowledge the fact that you're a state?
Is it because they're foreign? They're foreign. Even though it's foreign, aren't they? They're foreign. They're British citizens.
No. Anybody else? I'll give y'all 3 tries. Y'all got one more try. Huh?
They don't have the power nor the authority to do so.
Why don't they?
Because all powers are that are not granted to government officials are withheld by the state.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Because you're sovereign.
No, that's not it.
Because they don't have jurisdiction?
Nope. You ever heard?
Because our power come from God.
No, listen. In the United States Constitution, they got what's called a separation of powers. Right? You got executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch. Okay? The courts are part of the judicial branch. You know what that means? They can't interact in political decisions. You being a state, it's political. It has nothing to do with law. Other than now it has nothing to do with law because you've been lining everything up according to law that you needed to line up to be recognized and have the powers and capabilities of a state. But now the question comes down to, do you as a people understand what it means to have your political rights? Do you as a people understand that you got to stop looking for these people to acknowledge you as a state and start demonstrating as a state? Because you got everything lined up that you need to show that you're a state. So, let me go to this. Remember, separation of powers. They can't, the court can't decide political issues. They can only do what? Demonstrate law. Remember, I just told you in the Constitution, it said it. The judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or any laws of any state. Do that say anything about a judge needing to do anything political? No. You're a state. You got laws now. You got a Constitution. You're putting it out in the society that you're a political body of people. And the way you're putting it out in the society that you are a political body of people is because you got an executive branch, you got a legislative branch, and you got a judicial branch of your own. You got the power to tax. You got the power to have police. You got the power to pass and enforce laws. That all of that right there say, okay, these people are sovereign. They're a sovereign autonomous nation. But guess what? When you get in front of them, you act like you still an African American. You're not acting like somebody part of a nation. You're not acting like you're a national citizen with political rights and freedom. This is what I'm talking about you got to learn how to be a national. This ain't no plaything. This is serious business. You telling the whole world that you here and you back. You back. You no longer sleep no more. You understand what they done, what they been doing, what we've done, what we ain't been doing, and you here to correct everything and put everything back in its proper place. And that includes you as a people and as a nation. So the final say-so about them recognizing your driver's license, guess where it's going to come from? From you carrying them and demonstrating them. And if they get out of order, you suing them. Now you're making a political movement. You're creating and showing that you are a political force to be reckoned with. That you have laws as a nation. And that they're going to have to uphold your laws just like they uphold the laws of any other nation. Do y'all understand? Okay.
Islam, on point.
Okay. It says sovereignty is the concept of nation-state sovereignty based on territoriality and the absence of a role for eternal agents and domestic structures. It is an international system of states, multinational corporations, and organizations that began with the Peace of Westphalia, whatever that is, in 1648. Westphalia. Okay, check it out. It is an international system of states, multinational corporations. See all these Moors out here talking mess about us because we incorporated? They're telling you right here, states is what? Multinational corporations and organizations that began with peace. Okay. Sovereignty is a term that is frequently misused. Up until the 19th century, the radicalized concept of a standard of civilization was routinely deployed to determine that certain peoples in the world were uncivilized and lacking organized society. That position was reflected and constituted in the notion that their sovereignty was either completely lacking or at least of an inferior character. When compared to that of civilized people, there exists perhaps no conception the meaning of which is more controversial than that of sovereignty. It is an indisputable fact that this conception, from the moment when it was introduced into political science until the present day, has never had a meaning which was universally agreed upon. In opinion of H.V. Evatt of the High Court of Australia, sovereignty is neither a question of fact nor a question of law, but a question that does not arise at all. Sovereignty has taken on a different meaning with the development of the principle of self-determination. What is high determination? Being Moorish American people. Are we trying to be free? Are we trying to live in a society and make our mark back in this world like we made our mark in this world before? Are we trying to come from up under colonization? Are you trying to be recognized as a self-autonomous nation again? Development of the principle of self-determination. Ain't that what your state constitution, your preamble, and your declaration of your independence as Moorish American people is talking about? And the prohibition against the threat or use of force as just conditions, norms of modern international law. The United Nations Charter, the draft Declaration on the Rights and Duties of States, and the charters of regional international organizations express the view that all states are juridically equal and enjoy the same rights and duties based upon the mere fact of their existence as persons under international law. The right of nations to determine their own political status and exercise permanent sovereignty within the limits of their territorial jurisdictions is widely recognized. In political science, sovereignty is usually defined as the most essential attribute of the state in the form of its complete self-sufficiency in the frames of certain territory. That is its supremacy and the domestic policy and independence in the foreign one. Named after the 1648 treaty system of state sovereignty, which according to Brian Turner is made a more or less clear separation between religion and state, and recognize the rights of princes to confessionalize the state. That is, to determine the religious affiliation of their kingdoms on the pragmatic principle of cuius regio, however you say that, religio, ius religio. Model of state sovereignty has increasingly come under fire. Hold on before I go on with that. I got to go back to this. See, this is what I'm trying to teach them more science if they wake up. they keep trying to say they want an Islamic State. The way for them to have an Islamic State is first by having a state. And by our state being Moorish Americans and majority of us being Muslims, and we determined so that we wanted the state to be an Islamic state, then we could do so. But our ancestors had a greater understanding of things. They set this entire country up based off of everyone being able to exercise their belief to worship any god that they chose and practice any religion that they wanted to practice. Our ancestors had a greater vision of it not being any type of religious persecution because someone or somebody wanted to worship their creator in the way or form that they chose fit for them. And it's all through the Bible as well. King David had many wives, and he allowed his wives to build altars and temples to their gods, even though they was not our God. He still allowed the people to worship their gods. It's in the Bible. We from the tribe of Judah being Moorish Americans. We are allowed the same thing, but we won't make the same mistakes and fall into start worshiping the gods of foreigners.
Quick point of interest.
As long as you get slow.
Sorry to interrupt, but you said something about King James. From my studies, he only had one wife. And Matthew.
Who only had one wife? You're right. You're right. King David. You're right. But I meant to say something. You're right.
Oh, I'm talking about King James, like from King James Bible. If you're talking about King David, excuse me.
No,
I
said King. Yeah, I said King David, but it was actually Solomon that had multiple wives, and he still allowed them to worship their gods in the land.
Oh, okay, excuse me. I thought you said King James, like from the King James Bible. Excuse me.
Oh, It's not. So
no, he was referencing King James Bible.
Roger.
State sovereignty has increasingly come under fire from the non-West as a system imposed solely by Western colonialism. What this model did was make religion a subordinate to politics, a problem that has caused some issues in the Islamic world. This system does not fit in the Islamic world because concepts such as separation of church and state and individual conscience are not recognized in the Islamic religion as social systems. In casual usage, the terms country, nation, and state are often used as if they were synonyms, but in stricter usage, they can be distinguished. Country denotes a region of land defined by geographical features or political boundaries. Nation denotes a people who are believed to or deemed to share common customs, religion, language, origins, ancestry, or history. However, the adjectives national and international are frequently used. I got to go to the next page. But before I do, I want to address this. I want y'all to understand something that a lot of our people don't understand. We have people right now refusing to fall up under their national government because of religion right now. Because of religion. So anytime you're dealing with religion, you're dealing with belief. I really want y'all to get a great understanding of this. Anytime you're dealing with religion, you're dealing with belief. Let me tell you what happened last time when religion was used in a state type of scenario. They burned us. They boiled us in hot oil. They crucified us. They did all kind of horrible things to us trying to force the religion of Christianity on our people because we worship and our religion was Islam. So we constantly go back through history. People constantly say you got to learn from the past to correct the future so that you don't make the same mistake. I believe our ancestors understood that very, very well when they formed the government here. That religion, which is based on belief of what someone believes, if not, they didn't want that to be something that could go on here in America because they witnessed religious persecution throughout history. Throughout history. And so just like our ancestors, being the Moors, was prosecuted during the Great Spanish Inquisition, and a great many other people was prosecuted during the Great Spanish Inquisition and the Great Crusades of Christianity to force Christianity upon people, man, God made us to evolve, not to stay doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes. We got a lot of Moors that really feel that we're supposed to be an Islamic state, not understanding that Islamic State is not created by the religion. Islamic State is created by the state, who takes on that particular religion as the state's religion. I can't sit here and tell anybody, and I won't sit here and tell anybody, that we're supposed to be an Islamic State. Our country not set up on them principles. Our ancestors didn't set it up that way. It's not set up on Christian values or principles either. You see, they could see the future. They could see the greater thing that God wanted us to evolve to get to know one another, to learn each other's cultures and traditions and customs. But even when you start reading the Circle 7, the Holy Quran of the Most High Temple of America, if you really understand the book, you understand that you're supposed to graduate from the state of belief to knowing. And then you begin to know things, you begin to enter into fruition. Okay, so we have to begin to really understand the true meaning of religion. And that religion is nothing more than the way you live your life. Not only in Islam, but any religion that anybody practices. It's just the way that they have chosen to live their life. So we being a people of peace, being Moorish Americans, our religion, we can say our religion is peace. Because that's what we practice. So a lot of people, Noble Ali, our prophet told us, he said, look, I took what I bought you and I enshrouded it in religion to keep the Europeans from molesting what I bought you. He also told us to exercise our five senses. We got to start using our five senses to understand that the number one thing he bought us was not the religion. That's not the number one thing he bought us. That's just a part of what he bought us. But it's something greater that religion is wrapped around. And until we start embracing nationhood and statehood like every other nation on earth, our flag don't have nothing to do with no religion. Our flag has to deal with who we are as a nation of people. So we got to get the right understanding. Our prophet told us our flag over 10,000 years old. I don't tell nobody not to go to Moorish Temple of America. I think you should go because there's certain things that even the sheiks not understanding statehood and nationality, it's still certain things that you need to learn in Moorish Temple about who you are, your culture, your traditions, and your customs as people, being Moorish Americans and being Moors. It's still certain things you got to get up out of there that the prophet left for you to get in the temple. Not to say that if you don't ever go to the temple, that means you're not a good Moor or you won't be a Moorish American just because you don't go to the temple. That's nonsense. No, but he clearly illustrated and let us know that just because a person don't go there don't mean that they're not a Moor when he made the statement and said some of our best Moors are still in the church. So we gotta really learn how to dissect the things that the prophet said in his literature, what he's saying and what's the intention that he had for us as a people. Okay, let me go to the next one.
Islam president. I'm gonna start doing this when folks on the message board have a question, they don't ask it. I'm gonna put you on blast, but out of love. My brother James Harris Bay has a question. Your temple is your body, correct? That's his question.
On the spiritual side, you got two governments, one divine and one national. On that divine side, your body is the temple. But on the national side, they talking about land and territory. They're not talking about your physical body. They're talking about what land and territory do you control. That's why I'm reading this on State Street. You didn't hear them say nothing about your body. You heard them say a geographical territory. So now, do you have control over your body? Sure you do. Is that your territory? Sure it is. But guess what? Your body is in another territory and land. And when you move around in this territory and land, if you're not part of a state, they're going to run you over. If you have no laws that you go by, they're going to run you over. People have to really begin to get the right understanding of what they mean. You can't, you're supposed to learn certain things from more science, and more science supposed to be teaching. You know what Ali said? It started off as a civic organization. If you understand civics, you understand that civics teach you how to be a good citizen. It don't teach you how to live in your body. It's teaching you how to be a good citizen. That's what civics does. And a lot of people don't really have an understanding of what it means to be good citizens. Good citizens vote in their elections. Good citizens are active in what's going on in their society. Good citizens are active in politics. Them good citizens. Not those that sit around all day and ride around in the car all day smoking weed and drinking and hanging out with their buddies and at the club every Friday and Saturday night and doing all this other stuff. And then when these people locking them up for something, they talking about all these people, they this and that. But you had an opportunity to stop them from passing that law if you only would have paid attention to what your government officials was doing. It's a lot of people that's interacting in the society, and you can't even ask them who their state rep is. They wouldn't even be able to tell you. They probably couldn't even tell you who their senator of their state is. Those are people that's not good citizens. Who is the congressman for your state? How many congressmen you got in your state? How many senators you got? How many state reps you got? This stuff that a good citizen will know. So I'm just throwing that out there so you can really understand that, don't think you're as sharp as you thinking that you are when it comes to certain things, especially dealing with government. And that's the important thing, because that's what's controlling society. And if you ain't active in it, that's why Noble Ali said his real morals are active, not passive. He ain't talking about active up in the temple. Okay, you went to the temple today, you said the 101s, you read the Quran, you said the prayer. Okay. I commend you for that. Good. Now show me what you did for your kids out here in this society, in this world with these other men and these other races and other nations of people. What you do for your kids? Okay. State recognition. No. Okay. Refer to matters pertaining to what are strictly sovereign states, as in national, capital, international law. State refers to the set of governing and supportive institutions that have sovereignty over a definite territory and population. Sovereign states are legal persons. Did you hear that? Sovereign states are legal persons. State recognition signifies the decision of a sovereign state to treat another entity. Y'all pay close attention to this part. Pay super close attention to this part. State recognition signifies the decision of a sovereign state to treat another entity as also being sovereign state. Recognition can be either expressed or implied, and is usually retroactive in its effects. It does not necessarily signify a desire to establish or maintain diplomatic relations. There is no definition that is binding on all the members of the community of nations on the criteria for statehood. In actual practice, the criteria are mainly political, not legal. Didn't I just tell y'all that? L.C. Green cited the recognition of the unborn Polish and Czechoslovakia states in World War I and explained that since recognition of statehood is a matter of discretion, it is open to any existing state to accept as a state any entity it wishes, regardless of the existence of territory or of an established government. Do y'all hear that? This is 23 I'm on right here. Hold on. I want to make sure y'all understanding that. Do you see this here? I want y'all to pay close attention. I want y'all to get this here. What that say? State of Indiana, Office of the Secretary of State, Certificate of Incorporation, United States of America Republic Corporation. Right? Connie Lawson, Secretary of State. What that say right there? This state government is invested with the powers and authority to create and enforce laws and impose taxes, including protection of lives and property by means of police force. Is the state of Indiana considered to be sovereign? Anybody? Anybody? Hello?
Islam.
I don't hear nobody talking. I hear freaks.
Islam.
So you're lying to you. Okay. Is the state of Florida considered to be sovereign? California.
Yes.
Ohio. Missouri.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, ain't they recognizing you as a state? When they give you this certificate of authority? Ain't that another sovereign
recognize you as a foreign country.
But listen to what I'm saying. I just want to make sure y'all understand this. I don't want to confuse nobody. I'm going to read it again. State recognition signifies the decision of a sovereign state to treat another entity. What is this? The United States of America Republic Corporation. Isn't it an entity? Isn't it an entity? Okay then. Are they recognizing your entity as being a state?
Yes.
Right here, it says sovereign state to treat another entity as also being a sovereign state. Recognition can be either expressed or implied. You can't tell me this don't imply that you are a sovereign state. This right here.
Quick point of interest, President.
Yes, sir.
My question
Yes, sir.
is, you know how we turn on TV, we can see the Hillsong channel, the the Catholic channel and all these Christian channels. We need a TV channel. We need our own station. We need a station. This here, right here, this knowledge we learning tonight, this needs to be broadcasted 24/7 on the channel. I use the floor.
It's not.
Like TV commercials.
Okay. Let me show you something else about a state. They say that states have to have, in order to be recognized, matter of fact, let me go to my folder. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. A lot of people that's watching what we're doing, they don't get it. They really don't get it. Let me show you something. Let me show y'all something.
President, I'm gonna market that saying of yours. Let me show y'all something and pull my pants up. I yield the floor.
Okay. Let me see if this is the right definition that I'm looking for. I like to show y'all so y'all can read it for y'allself. I'll tell you what, let's do one even better. Let's go to the Black Law Dictionary, which I thought I had the definition from Black Law Dictionary. But basically it's telling you the states. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. A state, basically what I'm looking for to show y'all is that one of the prerequisites of being a state is you have to be able to enter agreements with other states. You have to be able to enter into agreements with other states. But like I say, man must be what he knows. Can't be what you told. You got to know this. So that's why, yeah, let me go to Black Law Dictionary. Because I don't ever want y'all to go off what somebody tell y'all. Always go by what you know. And the only way you going to know is you got to read it for yourself. And that's what I want everybody in Utah to do. Don't take my word for nothing that I said.
Quick question. What version is the that you're using? You know?
This is the fourth edition.
Oh, okay. You ever tried on both years?
I forgot my. Hold on, could you bring it up on the screen, please? I forgot my PDF ain't working. I gotta re-download my PDF. Go on the Black Law Dictionary, pull up the definition of state, and put it on the screen for me. Okay, what is it? Kelowna just misplaced her glasses, y'all. Hold on.
One moment, please.
Black Law Dictionary.
State.
Islam.
Islam
is let's say like the Cherokee Nation. Would that be considered a state?
You say the what?
Like let's say the present day Cherokee nations, like these Indian nations.
No.
Or people who create their own nation. Are those considered states?
No, they're tribal. Those are nomadic tribes. Nomadic tribes can never be nation states.
Even with UN recognition, stating that they are. Well, I guess don't say. Never mind. Okay, thank you.
Let me help you answer your own question. If they states, why the United States kept breaking their treaties?
Right.
Have they ever broke your treaty? Have they ever broke your treaty?
Yes.
No.
No?
You got the longest unbroken treaty in United States history. The Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1787 superseded in 1836, which is still in effect right now. They sign it every 49 years. They re-sign it. The last time they re-signed it was in 1987. They have never broken your treaty, because if they break your treaty, they got every European that's here got to get on a boat or a plane and get out of there.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that those tribal nations or tribal tribes claiming UN recognition, and they state that there gives you your I guess some type of declaration of authority or your nationality due to a UN resolution, and based off. Let me
ask you a question. See, I like to teach y'all how to do critical thinking. Because a lot of times we don't do critical thinking. You know, when we was growing up, our mothers and them would buy us encyclopedias, right? For school. Okay. If you get a F from the encyclopedia and look in there, you're not going to find no flag for none of those tribal nations. That right there should answer your question. Real clear, that they not nation states. Your flag is in that encyclopedia, which shows you're a nation state. Islam?
Is that the 1950s? I haven't looked in a long time. That's not the 1956 Morocco? Like, I haven't looked in a long time. I need to look that up. Then Islam. I yield the floor.
Islam. No Indian tribe got a flag in the international. They don't have a flag. Okay, go ahead, Colon. Yeah, read the definition of state, please.
State, this is a noun.
Go ahead.
A people permanently occupying a fixed territory, bound together by common law habits and customs into one body politic, exercising through the medium of an organized government, independent sovereignty and control over all persons and things within its boundaries, capable of making war and peace, and of entering into international relations with other communities of the globe. Further down, it says the organization of social life which exercises sovereign power in behalf of the people. One of the component commonwealths or states of the United States of America, period. The term is sometimes applied also to governmental agencies authorized by states, such as municipal corporations. Further down, it states the people of a state in their collective capacity, considered as the party wronged by a criminal deed, the public as in the title of a cause, the state versus AD. Keep going.
Yes, please.
The section of territory occupied by one of the United States. The circumstances or condition of a being or thing at a given time. Foreign state. Foreign country or nation. The several United States are considered foreign to each other, except as regards their relations as common members of the Union.
Okay. So now, one of the prerequisites of being a state is you got to have power to be able to enter into agreements with other states. So, the brother said it earlier. He said each state is like its own country.
You want control?
Yeah. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay? This is an agreement between us and Missouri, between us and Georgia, us and Ohio, us in North Carolina, us in Maryland, us in Illinois, us in Colorado, us in Minnesota, Florida, California, Virginia, Texas, and Arizona. So you're able to actually enter into agreements with other states. Now, let me read this to y'all. You hear people all the time talking about sovereignty. There is no such thing as sovereignty without a state. Okay. Sovereign power or sovereignty. That power in a state to which none other
just a second. Kenny Bay got kicked out, so he's calling back in. So just give him a second. Stand by. We're having mechanical problems, so stand by.
All right, one moment, please. Brother Atkins L or Sister Colonna, there's a question on the floor.
All right, Islam.
All right, going to the board. My brother James Harris Bay, I'm going to put you on. He said, put me on blast again. All right. But like I said in my statement, Brother James.
Provided by freeconferencecall.com. The recording has started.
But like I said before, Brother James.
Andre, can you mute your phone while Canada Bay dialing in?
Huh?
Andre, I think it's echoing. Are you still live?
Sovereign power. Okay, sovereign power or sovereignty. That power in a state to which none other is superior or equal. Sovereign states. States whose subjects or citizens are in the habit of obedience to them and which are not themselves subject to any other or paramount state in any respect. The state is said to be semi-sovereign only and not sovereign when in any respect or respects it is liable to be controlled, like certain other states in India, by a paramount government, e.g. by the British Empire, Brown. In the intercourse of nations, certain states have a position of entire independence of others and can perform all those acts which it is possible for any state to perform in this particular sphere. These same states have also entire power of self-government, that is, of independence upon all other states as far as their own territory and citizens not living abroad are concerned. No foreign power or law can have control except by convention. This power of independence action in external and internal relations constitutes complete sovereignty. Sovereignty. The possession of sovereign power, supreme political authority, paramount control of the Constitution and frame of government and its administration. The self-sufficient source of political power for which all specific political power are derived. The international independence of a state combined with the right and power of regulating its international affairs without foreign dictation. Also, a political society or state which is sovereign and independent. The freedom of the nation has its correlates in the sovereignty of the nation. Political sovereignty is the assertion of the self-determined will of the organic people, and in this state there is the manifestation of its freedom. Can somebody mute their phone? Can someone mute their phone? Okay. It is in and through the determination of its sovereignty that the order of the nation is constituted and maintained. Mulford Nation, page 129. If a determinate human superior, not in a habit of obedience to a like superior, receive habitual obedience from the bulk of a given society, that determinate superior is sovereign in that society, and the society, including the superior, is a society political and independent.
Islam. So now, do you hear what this is telling you? Didn't I tell you, no, but you already saying nothing but mental change on you now? Look what this last part just said. It said, if a determinate human superior, not in a habit of obedience to a like superior, receive habitual obedience from the bulk of a given society, that determinate superior is sovereign in that society. If you walking around out here with your driver's license from your sovereign being your state government, if you carrying their driver's license, their birth certificate, everything you got, their license plates, their registration, their car title, they this and that, then it's recognized as being sovereign in your society. But you got to demonstrate it. Our people keep waiting on these people to acknowledge something. The only way you're going to make them acknowledge anything is you got to carry this stuff. You got to demonstrate it. You got to act it. You got to walk it. You got to talk it. They are not ever going to recognize you if you don't take a stand. You don't have to have guns now to make them recognize you. You don't have to do all of that. Let me show you something. No, wait a minute. I think it might be. I ain't got it over there either. Okay, let me go back to the other one. Let me show y'all something. I want y'all to get an understanding, a real good understanding. This is the Emancipation Proclamation. I want y'all to pay attention to what it's saying. It's on the 22nd day of September in the year of our Lord, 1862, a proclamation was issued by the President of the United States, containing, among other things, the following to wit: that on the first day of January in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be thenceforward and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority. Nope, I skipped the line. Let me go back. I skipped the line. Okay. 63. All persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then and thenceforward and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. Now, I want y'all, all of us don't comprehend the same way, so I'm gonna break this down how I comprehend it. Now, I don't know if you comprehending this correct. That on the first day of January, the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States. Who fought to set the slaves free? Anybody?
Moses.
Who is the come on, y'all.
Abraham Lincoln.
He's on Congress.
Everybody at one time.
You said
question is $1 million for the answer to this question. Everybody be chiming in.
Repeat the question, please.
You. No. Who set the slaves free during the war? Who fought free?
Abraham Lincoln. Wasn't it?
Abraham Lincoln.
It was the Confederacy.
Be quiet.
The sovereign state of the United States.
The Southerners.
So it was the Union. I had it backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I'm saying it right.
Who is the Union? What's another name for the Union? Who is that?
The society states or the social states?
The United States?
No.
The United States.
The Confederate.
Remember General Grant? Ulysses S. Grant? Remember Abraham Lincoln now? That's the North. That's the Union States. That's the North. So the United States government fought to free the slaves.
Are those loyalists?
United States.
Islam.
Can anybody hear me on here?
Yeah. Quick point of interest.
Yeah.
Is Abraham Lincoln? Are those the loyalists? Those are the loyalists. Loyalists.
They messing with my phone now.
Okay, we can hear you good now.
Okay, is Abraham Lincoln, is he a loyalist or a patriot?
Freed the slaves, the North or the South. And why did they free? I mean, not the North or the South, but who freed the slaves during slavery? So now we know it's the United States government. So why would Abraham Lincoln write in here, the day that they rebel against the United States, they shall be then and thenceforward and forever free? Why are you saying that?
Is wrong. Because
why Abraham Lincoln saying?
It's wrong because he knew that the people wasn't really free.
Came to freedom. Why? This ain't talking about then. Abraham Lincoln already knew the truth. That's why he wrote it this way. He knew they was only freeing us on a short leash. But one day you're going to wake up and realize who you really are, and you're going to realize that this is your land and your country, and you're going to rebel against the United States. It don't mean you got to rebel with guns. That ain't what that means. It just means that one day you gonna say, hey, enough is enough. I'm not no United States citizen.
Okay.
I'm not a United States citizen. And I'm seeking my actual freedom now in my national government because I'm a national citizen. And so he say today, when you do that, guess what they going to do? The executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority, thereof will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons and will do no act or acts to repress such persons. An act or act is synonym for guess what? Statute. So basically it's saying that they will not pass no statute or act. You know, like the Gun Control Act and all those different drug acts and all this stuff. Okay, they will pass no, and basically they saying they can't pass no law to stop or repress you in the actual or any of us when we start seeking our actual freedom and our efforts that we're making for our actual freedom. This is what we're doing right now, forming ourselves back into a state government. This right here is us seeking our actual freedom. You understand? You're seeking your actual freedom now from the United States.
Okay.
You're saying, I'm not a citizen of the United States of America. I mean, United States. Because that's a federal corporation. You're saying, look, I'm a citizen of the USADAC, the United States of America, which is the land, and my government is a republic. I'm a national citizen of the republic. You're doing what else? You're renouncing your allegiance to the United States. Therefore, that's like a rebellion. Now, I want to show y'all something else. Watch this. Because I want y'all to understand about this. I'm really going to give y'all, let's stay with me for a minute. Okay. Get this out the way. Nation. A large group of people having a common origin, language, tradition, and usually constituting a political entity. When a nation is coincident with a state, the term nation-state is often used. Also term nationality. The nearest we can get to a definition is to say that a nation is a group of people bound together by a common history, common sentiment, and traditions. And usually, though not always, as for example, Belgium or Switzerland, by common heritage. A state, on the other hand, is a society of men united under one government. These two forms of society are not necessarily coincident. A single nation may be divided into several states, and conversely, a single state may comprise several nations or parts of nations. A community of people inhabiting a defined territory and organized under an independent government, a sovereign political state. The United States Constitution, Article 3, look what it says. Between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states. They let you know right here, you could be a citizen of the same state and claiming the same land as other citizens, but you are under the grant of a different state. You're under the grant of a different state. You understand that? Let me help you understand if you don't. Wait. Let me go back.
Excuse me, President. Quick point of interest.
Bam.
Look. Hello?
This is a grant of a different state.
I was just getting ready to ask that question.
What's that say right there? This you claiming certain territory and land. This is us claiming certain territory and land. This is a grant of a different state. This is a grant of a different state. Though we share in the same territory, we claiming different land. We claiming a different territory. Though we share in the same state, we say, hey, we're different jurisdictions. We're claiming a different territory than them. Okay? So now let me go back. And let me show you something else. Now this is what I want y'all to pay close attention. Know that you Ali was smart.
Islam President, you got a question on the floor, point of interest.
Cannon Bay do solemnly affirm that at a meeting of the members of the United States of American Republic held in Cook County and the state of Illinois, right? According to the rules and uses of such Moorish American society, you see that? Moorish American society,
you can't hear them.
We, the people, no, I can't hear them at all. I don't hear nothing from them. Did you read everybody?
No, because you don't have your earphones on, or
I got my speaker on. Y'all can hear me.
We can hear you. You can't hear us.
My phone is on. If you can hear me through this speaker, I'm supposed to be able to hear you.
Islam, did you hear me?
Oh, I ain't heard nobody. I can't hear you.
I hear everybody.
Maybe you got.
Stand by, Kuba. Stand by.
There's a point of interest on the floor.
It's because we can hear you. You can't hear them. So something is wrong with the transmission.
Yeah, I just told him that there was a question on the floor.
Oh, yeah. We completely out of the call. I was trying to call in. It wouldn't even ring.
Is the speaker?
You can hear me through that. Right there. I'm going to hang up and call back in.
All right. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have technical difficulties. One moment, please.
Okay, pretty much my point of interest, it's the same thing I always say every week. But what the president is talking about is basically, if you read the 14th Amendment, Wikipedia and touch all the names, read everything on what all them dudes were saying and what the 14th Amendment stood for, what we're doing, what the president is eloquently delivering is that we're declaring our allegiance to a nation, because we're right now we're not affiliated with the U.S. because we're 14th Amendment citizens.
Islam, I'm back. What's the question?
So, can you hear me, President Cannon?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
This is Brother Bobby Green, L in Alaska. Saying the same thing pretty much, because what you read to us is pretty much the 14th Amendment. I keep saying that, but if people read deep into that, what you're saying is valid. It's A+. We on point. No one can stop us because we are pledging our allegiance to a nation. That's why I asking these questions about like tribes and all that, because they stating where you got your nationality, and come to find out, no, you don't. Because like you stated, because that's what pulled me in, is that this is a nation, and it's in that Abraham, like you said, the Abraham Lincoln speech about the republic. Every state should have a Republican form of government. So everything that you're saying is on point. Because I try to preach this to my brother, my cousins, my moms. And my mom, she's like in her 60s, she just like, she's from Mississippi, so she's just like, whatever, that's nonsense. I'm like, it's on TV, it's all over the place. So I just want to say again that what you're saying is on point. The 14th Amendment plainly states it, and what you're demonstrating ties into the 14th Amendment. On point. I yield for
Islam. Now you see on the screen right here, say the jurisdiction of the United States of American Republic. The jurisdiction of the United States of American Republic shall consist of 10 provinces. The Moorish nationals and citizens for the United States of American Republic shall live in these provinces. The United States of American Republic shall have the power as the de jure government of the continent with full power to impose and enforce the law of the land. The Moorish American people and citizens have established themselves in these free lands of America, and they hope that the legislature of the continent will be unified in accordance with the principles that subject alien immigrants to the unrestricted force of the local law. with the hope, therefore, that very soon the doctrine of the domicile will be the one to regulate in America the civil status and capacity of persons, and feeling assured that it will constitute one of the most characteristic aspects of a juridical Pan-America. It's an N on the end of that. That shouldn't be there. Pan-America. So now, y'all know the 10 provinces that we comprise, what we inhabit. Now, let me show y'all. I'm really trying to make all this add up for y'all, and so y'all can really understand your power that you have. You see this right here? It says the police power. Most purposes allowed to a municipality fall within the broad definition of the police power. The term police power refers to the ability to legislate to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the jurisdiction. The United States Constitution delegated this power to the states in the 10th Amendment. All powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectfully or to the people. Thus, a broad grant of the police power to a locality does not give a locality the power to enact a zoning ordinance. The power to zone must be specifically delegated. The states have delegated portions of this police power to local governments by state constitution, charter, or enabling statute. The state grants charters to recognize the legal existence of the municipality, grants power to the municipality, place limits on the powers of the municipality, and set out the boundaries of the entity. There go that word entity again. Then what was that? What did that other thing say about the states? It's a state's power to recognize another entity as being sovereign, right? Now here it is in another thing that don't have nothing to do with the other thing that I was reading from. Now check this out. One may think of a charter as the organizing document or birth certificate of the entity. A municipality does not exist until a charter is issued, recognizing it. Where is your state? Was your state recognized before we got our charter? On the wrong one. That's one going next. Hold on. Was your state recognized before we did this state charter?
No.
No.
Do you see what this says? We, the people of the Moorish American society, deriving our power and our authority with profound reverence for the supreme creator of the universe in order to form a more independent and perfect kingdom of God, establish love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, ensure tranquility, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. We the people of the Moorish American society. Now, the attorney down there made me scratch this out, but you can still read it. It's saying pledge our lives and property to each other to gain equal footing in the affairs of men and for other purposes in order to establish justice and to promote the health, safety, and welfare and to secure the rights of self-determination. Even though he made me scratch that part out, I still got accomplished all we needed to get accomplished, which was to get our charter for Illinois. Now I want you to pay close attention. This is done under the 805 Religious Corporation Act. Does this make us a religious corporation? Some might think it does. I think it does not. Our corporation is a state government. And when you read the 805 Religious Corporation Act, when you go to it, see how they got that hyphen in there? They got corporations, then they got hyphen, religious, hyphen, affidavit of organization. You see that? So guess what? See, they real slick the way they do things. The 805 Religious Corporation Act ain't just for religious corporations. It's for societies. That's why I made sure I put in here North American society. Don't try to mix us up with being a religious corporation. We are society. We derive our power and authority from our Creator. Okay? So now let me show you something. Let me go back. Let me show you something. I want y'all to really get an understanding. All these people all on everywhere talking about, oh, they're a corporation. Those are people with no understanding about corporations. Now, I got this when I was in prison. I told y'all, anytime y'all see a document that look like this, where it got this writing on the bottom like that, see that? That's my prison ID number right there. 115-18027. That's my prison identification number. So now, a state. Watch this, what it say. A state. The Supreme Court has concluded that a state is not a person who has deprived another person of federal rights within the meaning of Title 42-1983. Title 42-1983 deals with civil rights. You can never sue the state talking about the state violated your civil rights because the state is not considered a person in law. Wherein, while reviewing a claim against a state under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the court noting that Monroe versus Patton, 1961, had held that cities and other municipal corporations are not persons subject to suit under Title 42-1983. Thus said that 1983 could not have been intended to include states as party defendants. Affirming the dismissal of a 42-1983 claim brought against defendants, including a Department of State Police by a department employee who alleged that he had been denied a promotion in violation of provisions including the United States Constitution, the Supreme Court in Will versus Michigan Department of State Police held that a state is not a person subject to suit under Title 42-1983. According to the court, its holding applies to only states or governmental entities that could be considered arms of the state for 11th Amendment purposes. The court noted that, one, reading of subsection 1983 to include a state as a person would be an awkward way of expressing an intent to subject states to liability. Two, statutes employing the word person are ordinarily construed to exclude the sovereign. Who they telling you the sovereign is? Is it the individual person or is it the state? The language of 1980 falls short of satisfying the ordinary rule of statutory construction that if Congress intends in a statute to alter the usual constitutional balance between the states and the federal government, Congress must make its intentions to do so unmistakably clear in the statute. Given that a principal purpose behind the enactment of 1983 was to provide a federal forum that would allow civil rights claimants to avoid state courts, and given that Congress did not provide a federal forum for civil rights claims against states, said the Supreme Court, it follows that Congress did not intend to create under subsection 1983 a cause of action that could be brought against states in state courts. Moreover, the Supreme Court commented that, one, in acting subsection 1983, Congress did not intend to override a state's common law immunity from being sued without its consent. And two, the legislative history of subsection 1983 did not contain the clearly expressed legislative intent necessary to permit and construction of subsection 1983 under which a state could be a person. Although the 11th Amendments bar against a suit brought against a state in the absence of the state waiving its immunity or Congress exercising its power under subsection 5 of the 14th Amendment to override that immunity applies to only subsection 1983. Suits brought in a federal form, the Supreme Court reasoned the scope of the 11th Amendment is a consideration in deciphering congressional intent regarding the scope of the word person in 1983. Even with respect to actions brought against states in state courts, the Supreme Court commented that the Dictionary Act of February 25, 1871, subsection 216, stat 431, which was adopted prior to 1983 and which provided that in, watch this, watch what it says. All federal acts thereafter past the word person might be applied to bodies politic and corporate did not evidence a clear congressional intent that states be persons under 1983 because an examination of the authorities existing when the Dictionary Act was passed suggested that the phrase bodies politic and corporate, while including municipal corporations, did not include states. Comment. In Wheel versus Michigan, Department of State Police Super, the Supreme Court, without indicating whether it agreed with the construction, noted that some other courts had construed its decision, which held that subsection 1983 does not override a state's 11th Amendment immunity against being subjected to private suit in federal form, as holding by implication that a state is not a person subject to suit in subsection 1983. An entity with immunity from suit under the 11th Amendment of the United States Constitution is not a person within the meaning of Title 42-1983. Thus, a state and arms of the state which have traditionally enjoyed 11th Amendment immunity are not subject to suit under subsection 1983 in either federal or state court. With respect to Federal Court of Appeals judgment affirming federal district court judgment that free speech rights under federal Constitution First Amendment of state employees who sued under Title 42-1983 for prospective relief were violated by state constitutional article that required states to act in English language only. Claims for relief against state was non-existent. As subsection 1983, which creates remedy against person for deprivation of civil rights, creates no remedy against state. Arizonians for official English versus Arizona case did not present valid federal claim against a particular state because one individual plaintiff's only federal claim against state arose under Title 42-1983. 2, that claim sought only monetary damages. And 3, Supreme Court had held that state was not person against whom subsection 1983 claim for money damages might be asserted. State is not person under 42-1983. Do y'all understand why they can't bring a suit against the state now? The state itself is though it's a juridical entity in law, it's not considered a person in law. This is why the states are sovereign. This is why we need our own state, y'all. This is why we have to have our own state. Islam, why you slow?
Point of interest.
You got slow.
President Cannon, you showed us a part where the attorney made you scratch something out. Can you tell us intent and purpose for wanting you to take that out?
Trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing. That's all. Trying to stop what God loves, but he can't stop it. Because I still got done what I need to get done. And if you look right here, it says, in order to form a more independent and perfect kingdom of God. So, cool, what's the kingdom?
The kingdom is the government.
So that says clearly, to form a more independent and perfect government of God. But he didn't know that. If I'd have put the word government on there, he would have made me scratch that out too. But because I know more than he knows, and I know and understand on the biblical standpoint, on the religious side, that kingdom means government. So I use kingdom. Same thing. Still got done what I need to get done. Because now in Illinois, because Illinois was giving us the runaround a little bit. They don't have a law for us to get a certificate of authority for the type of corporation we are in Illinois. They did that by design. But by design, they created a law that allowed us to do exactly what we need to do. And this, I believe, is the same reason why Noble Drew Ali did it this way. Why he used the Herds Revised Statute in Illinois to get done what he needed to get done. To create that body of politics. Okay, because I don't want me to show y'all this. Let me show y'all something.
Okay. Can I get a quick point of interest?
Yeah. Okay, hold on real quick.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is Noble Drew Ali original document. Okay, this is a copy of it. So this is the date Noble Drew Ali did our authority, being Muslims. This is our religious authority on the divine side. Okay? And you see the date he incorporated it, 1928, August 1st, p.m. at what time? 2:52 p.m. See that? Now, this is the incorporation of the United States of American Republic. Do you see the date that it's incorporated and the time? Do you see that? What's the odds of that happening? Y'all see it? August 1st, 2:52 p.m. August 1st, 2:52 p.m.
I don't have screen. I'm on phone.
Oh, okay. Those that's on screen, you can see that, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Correct.
Now, anybody that's been downtown to Cook County, recorded deeds, know it stays a line of people down there. It stays a line of people down there. So what is the odds of us getting that stamp at exactly that same exact time on that exact same day?
Point of interest. That was divinely done because there's no way possible that could ever happen at that particular moment.
I mean, I challenge anybody to go down there and get a document stamped. This the month of August right here. I challenge anybody, go down there any day of this month and see if you can get a document stamped at exactly 2:52 p.m. Try it. Any day of the year, go down there and see if you can get a document stamped at exactly 2:52 p.m. And see if you can. That's why I yield for.
When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We refuse to believe that the Bank of justice.